Welcome, everyone. We have a great episode for you today. Our guest is Theresa, and she has not necessarily a pain, maybe a little bit, but how old is your son now?
2 years old.
2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
But since she was pregnant with him, tell us what's been odd.
You know, I've had some alignment issues. I'm not sure if you can see this, but this shoulder is significantly higher than this shoulder. And despite doing yoga regularly and getting massage, I'm still having this ongoing issue, which is why I'm here to talk to Cara.
Yeah, and so we're going to dig into what might be going on. What's interesting is that she has nothing else in her past really that would indicate something about her shoulders. And also why we're tying this back to when her son was born was she had a C-section with everything with labor and whatnot. So before we dig in, I'm Cara Lindell. I'm the founder of the Bridging Technique, where we blend my engineering systems background in with movement to come up with a different perspective, different solution that we call bridging, which is connecting muscles together so that they can move and work together again. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to be assessing, try to figure out what is going on. That's called problem solving. And then we are going to be using our gentle muscle resets to try to help her body get back to whatever normal looks like.
Sure.
So for those of you who are new to us, welcome. We almost always start off with just standing up and seeing how just easily she will flow and move. So I'm going to hold at your shoulders. You don't need to do anything. I'm just going to gently move a little bit one way. Whoa. And that was good. And then the other way, which is different. She actually has a lot more control to the right than the left. And then we're going to turn and don't help. Oh, goodness. So she turned really easily one direction. I hardly have to do anything. Just getting her back to the middle is a little interesting. And then going to the left, I'm actually pushing with this hand and you're not going. So forward and back is fine. That uses your feet. And sit down. We're going to check the same things. And so, same idea. So this is a little different. It's easier going to the left, not as easy going to the right. And then turning to the right, it comes to a dead stop. I like springiness, and like you go and then wind up and go back. I'm actually trying to turn you back to the middle, and your body's like, no, I don't want to go there. But we got you there. So I wonder if that's a part of, somehow all of that is affecting your shoulder. Forward and back. Yeah, lay down. Let us see what the parts are going to tell us. And so I'm not so suspicious about things with your legs, but I want to roll in and out. So I'm going to hold at your ankle and just lift. And that one's pretty easy. And this one, they're similar. I like similar. We're going to see how they turn. That is perfectly fine. And that one is as well. And with your arms, we're going to do this one first. I'm just going to, because we're talking about your shoulders, but you don't really remember any big injuries. So, although you did tell me that you had a HIIT class, the high intensity interval training, issue that tweaked the shoulder, and it is tweaked. It's it doesn't want to easily move. It just should be nice and flowy. Hopefully this one is. Let's just see. Let's untangle you. There we go. Feel how easy that moves?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a difference in the shoulders. So we may have two different things going on. I'm going to have you bend your knees, give them a hug. I'm going to see something about your core. Does it inherently want to rock? And there's a little bit of motion both ways. So that's a good place to be. So we'll let those come out. I'm going to hold an arm and a leg, and we're going to see if I'm going to roll you toward me. Okay. I'm not going to muscle through. I just want to see, is there an ease to this? And that is no. And it really feels tight down here. When people have had C-sections, I get really suspicious about how movement in the lower part of the core is working, whether it's above or below, because of the trauma. It's 7 layers. So let's see how this one goes. So this one moves a little bit. I would like at least that much on the right side. I'd like more on both for you, because as your 2-year-old becomes 4 or 5 and older, you're going to be involved in a lot of activities. And remind me to cut that out. Daniel, is there a way you can flag that? Okay. So we're gonna scoop underneath your shoulders and let's see how, oh my gosh. So the shoulder that is so down, it does not move. And this one moves a tiny bit, but so the core part of your shoulder is actually pretty tight. I'm gonna just see how your head moves. And it's got little bits of movement in several different directions, which is nice, but we want more. Often the head, what I find is that when other things are tight, the head is kind of the victim. That is, we get more movement restored in other places than what goes on at the head softens. Roll on your side real quick. I'm going to check. I'm going to hold at your ribs, and we're going to see how just each quarter of her moves. We saw the half, so okay, this is the shoulder that's high and that had the injury with the workout. This doesn't really move, and I'm going to keep your ribs still again as a reference. All right, this would be impacted by the C-section scar because it's down here. What's really cool is the seam on your pants kind of is close to where that C-section scar would be. And there's it's not solid, but it really just doesn't have any ease of movement. And you want your pelvis to be able to move. Roll on the other side and let's just see. So this will be kind of a nice way for you at home to see from the opposite side. I'm holding the ribs, just at her shoulder gently. So this one, it doesn't even move back to squared off. It's pulled forward. So we don't know why. We're suspicious that it's something from down here, but okay. So again, holding ribs. There is some movement, but it's very interesting. It's not segmenting in the place that I would expect it to. It's almost like if you get any movement here, it's moving up in here. And we really want movement to be closer in where the muscles are. So my rule of thumb when we work on putting things back together is to start with the better side. And even though there's a tiny bit of movement here, I think the left is better. The shoulder seems to be a whole different injury, but the alignment, the integrity of your core is actually like squared off already. It's almost like the Amazon box. Somebody threw it and the corners are off. So do you sleep on the side?
I am still nursing my baby, and so I am co-sleeping and nursing in bed. I think I default to being on my back, but I have been side sleeping to support him.
Okay, well, tell you what. Let's go with the way I like to go with the way you sleep because there's something neurological that's really peaceful about that.
Okay.
So go on your back, and what I'm going to do is support your knees. So it just takes some stress off of where you have the scar in your low back. And we're going to...
I feel more relaxed already.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the C-section scar, but at the end of the day, just being pregnant can be very disruptive to all your muscles in your abdomen because, all this tiny little you, and then you're this big, and then all of a sudden you're not this big. So I'm just going to put some support, use our peanut ball, and put some support, and then we'll see if there's more movement on one side or the other side and just try to get that centered because that may help the right shoulder. And what I'm just holding, but I really am looking for something, and I'm looking for the sensation of movement with her breathing. And the diaphragm muscle that's right underneath about where her hands are should actually be kind of gently pushing down and coming back up, almost like an ocean wave. And I can start to feel a little bit. So I'm going to just change how I'm holding, which is a broader compression. And now I can start to feel you breathing. which will be nice for you. Yeah, and it's interesting. So with C-section, actually any abdominal surgery, although they just really don't do many of those anymore, they're laparoscopic, the minimally invasive. With the C-section scar, there's always one side that's tighter. I think I generally find the right side. I'm not sure if that's just a way people are taught to start on one side and finish on the other. But it seems like the right side is often tighter. So I'm going to put a little bit more support to that right corner of your hip and your abdomen.
When I look at the scar, I can actually see where
It's tighter.
Where it's tighter. The skin looks different from one side to the other.
Is it the right side?
I don't
There.
know.
Okay, that just relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
So, am I trying to reduce the scar, dissolve the scar, or anything like that? No. I'm focused on reacquainting the muscles, getting them to relax enough so that they can start working together again. Because where the C-section scar is really close to where the muscles attach to structures. And so it's really hard for the neurological system to stop protecting while it was healing and learn how to function again. So, all right, that seems like it's moving better. I'm going to just lift your leg and check a couple things. I'm still putting compression to that right side, which you can feel. There. And what was interesting is your legs were actually pretty mobile. A lot of people I meet with the C-section, there's actually some hip tightness. So thankfully you haven't had that. There. But it's interesting to me that your shoulder is so tight.
Yeah.
Oh, there. That just moved a whole lot better. Okay, so just... We use the term wiggly jiggly, and it's in a good way. When muscles are able to work together, there's just this fluidity that is wiggly jiggly. And that feels a whole... Oh, and can you tell your breathing is deeper?
I feel better.
Yeah.
I really feel different. Yeah.
So I'm going to put that aside, and we're going to recheck shoulders because I want to know if that change on the right is enough for that right shoulder to start to work together with the whole side. So roll this way again. And immediately I can tell I'm going to hold here just so we're doing apples to apples. Feel how that moves. So, and then this, oh yeah, so much more movement. I think it's actually easier for you to see from the behind rather than the front. But the whole side, her pelvis and her shoulder now are squared up instead of the shoulder being rounded forward. Just going to put a couple refreshing movements with your arm. And, oops. Oh, that didn't like that. I tried to make her core go back toward you, and it said no. There we go. We just need to slow down a little bit. There. That feels feels like melted butter. Okay, Theresa, roll over and go the other way. So what we found on this left side was that her shoulder didn't move, but it didn't. And there's a different potential injury there. We're going to check the hip. That is moving better, and it's fairly similar to what we found on the right side. So let's try to give this one a little pick-me-up so that it's better. It may not match. I might have to have you come back again so that we can check in on the core, but then really do some more focused work on this. For those of you who are wondering, well, what's it supposed to be like? We have another video that is talks about what the flows of movement should look like, and you can find the link for that right here. What I'm doing is stabilizing one part and moving the other just a little bit. It's almost like trying to fit two pieces of tubing together, two blocks on top of each other. There's a lot of different examples that you can think of, but basically match two parts together so that they work together again. And Oh, the shoulder's a little tricky. Just wow, did you jam it? Oh, there. So that was just being very patient and guiding it so that the movement from the front and the back. Oh, wow. It moves now. All righty. So tell you what, roll back on your back. We're going to recheck. So legs are pretty good. I'm going to see if this side. So this is the side that didn't move. And that is even more than what the left did. And let's go back to check the left. And very nice. They're pretty even. And then we're going to check with your shoulders. So actually, you've got to check this arm. There, it's all flowy. And then I'm going to scoop underneath your shoulders. So now see the rocking motion? That's what you didn't have before. And then your head moves much more freely. Instead of just a little bit, there's a lot. So sit up. And swing around. Let's see how you're moving when you're sitting. And so side to side. Oh my gosh, that is so much more motion, and it's very centered. And turning. There you go. And you don't get stuck on the right anymore. So I don't know what in the world they did over on that right side, but what you may find nice to do at home is to take a tennis ball and not like massage it, but more like kind of put it like I was using the pressure and just kind of wiggle it around.
Where?
On the right side.
On the right, like like here.
Where the scar is.
I see where the scar is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that area was really inhibiting so much movement on your whole right side.
Wow.
So stand up. Okay. Visually. So they don't quite match, but they seem a little bit more matched. That they're not quite off. So let's see how you're moving. So I moved you to the left and you didn't fall over. So that's a good thing. And then to the right. So there's just, can you feel the flow back and forth? Yeah. And then turning, and I let go and you turn a little bit back to center and then to the left. There. Yeah. So I'd like a little bit more of that, but that's way better than where we started. And then forward and back. And actually, you know what? I'm testing differently because I'm holding closer to where the movement is. Originally, I like to keep things apples and apples so that you're not wondering, okay, what if I do it differently? If I do it the same, will it show something different? So yeah, actually the movement's really nice, just holding at your shoulders. So sit down, let's do a quick recap. So Theresa, after her baby, had found that her posture was just off and it caused you some back stress and it just wasn't right. And you've done a lot with yoga and other things. So what we found was that there were two things going on. The shoulder injury from the HIIT class really it did affect your shoulder. It felt better, but that's because it's kind of locked down. And then the scar from the C-section surgery, it really, whatever happened on the right side that was so much tighter, it's almost like it kind of pulled your whole side down to kind of help protect it. Needed that at the time, but that was 2 years ago, so you don't need that anymore. So we supported those, got her movement recentered, and we'll check in a week or two and maybe try to have you come back for another episode just so that you at home can see how she's doing. Thanks for being here and watching. This was a really cool example of how a very common surgery, a third of all births are by C-section, and you recover, but you're not really all the way back to normal. And it can play out in some really different ways for different people. And for those of you who may be professional, we do teach the bridging technique. There'll be a group starting in the summer of 2025. So reach out. The information is on our website. And let me know. We'd love to have you. If you'd love to be a guest or you'd love a session yourself, we're located in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and the information is on our website. So thank you at home for being here. give Theresa a big thumbs up.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Thank you,
being
Cara.
here.
Thank you.